Well, greetings YouTube. This video, as you can tell by the title, is about how you can save your dog, or at least buy some more time, if you ended up in the situation Charlie and I have recently ended up in. And I know how, oh, I love you too. I know how it works. You went to the vet, and for whatever reason, and you were given the worst news that you've ever heard, which is your dog has a certain amount of time to live because he or she has lymphoma or some other kind of cancer. Right now it's Sunday. This last Wednesday was the 2-week mark, and Charlie was given 2 weeks to live, and at the very most 1 month to live. Turns out he's got lymphoma and he's got a mast cell tumor. Now, he's had 2 surgeries in the past to remove mast cell tumors. And if you get them early enough, as you probably know, it's not a big deal. But the lymphoma, that's a death sentence. And his lymph nodes in his neck and the back of his legs were swollen pretty bad. They took the test, and, here I was taking him there because of the mast cell. And when they came out of there and told me that he's basically, we're not going to do the surgery on the mast cell, give him whatever food he wants, don't worry about his weight, he'll be dead within 2 weeks. If you give him the prednisone, he might last a month. You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but from that Wednesday to that following Saturday, I lost 13 pounds of pure depression weight. I cried and cried and cried. I said goodbye to Charlie a million times. I spent 4 days saying goodbye to my best friend, and if you're new to the channel, you have no idea how much I love this dog. But if you would have told me years ago that I would tattoo a dog on my arm, I would have thought you were nuts. But Charlie has, I don't want to get into too much, waste time telling you how much I love Charlie. I'm sure you love your dog the same way, and that's why you're on this video. But life without Charlie for me is inconceivable, and so I'm 54 years old, and I haven't cried like that since I was a child. I just would look at him and picture him, picture life without him, picture him going through agony. I was researching crematoriums, and I wanted to make sure I could be there with him. I'm going through all this self-torture, and then about 4 days into it, I just woke up one day and I thought, I didn't really even sleep for 4 days, but I woke up from, falling asleep on the couch, and I thought, hey man, I'm a U.S. paratrooper. And I'm a retired LAPD guy. I can handle some shit, and I have. Why am I just surrendering to this death sentence? Because to me, it was like watching a slow motion murder of somebody I love, just waiting for him to die. And, I had decided a long time ago I wasn't going to put him through chemo, and I assume you've made that same decision. For whatever reason, my reasoning was I didn't want to put him through, let's say that chemotherapy would give him a year to live, but for 7 months he'd be in agony and sick, and I didn't want that to happen to him. Likewise, the prednisone they gave me, which is a steroid, I was taking care of my father's golden retriever, and she had advanced lymphoma, and she went blind, and her neck swelled up to the size of baseballs. And 2 days after I gave her the prednisone, the swollen lymph nodes had shrunk down and were gone completely, and her eyesight came back. So she probably had something pushing on an optic nerve or something. But the bad news was the prednisone changed who she was. She was a loving golden retriever, and she attacked Charlie, and when I tried to break it up, she bit me in the knee, bit my wrist. I was bleeding. It was a terrible thing, and then she felt guilty for doing it. So anyways, we put her to sleep, and I vowed I wasn't going to give my dog prednisone. I took prednisone after a neck surgery many, many years ago, and I was angry, and it affects you. So, my purpose for this video is to give you another option. My disclaimer is, I am not a vet. I have no veterinary training. I'm just an average dude with a dog who's doing my best to save my buddy's life. And in the last 2 weeks, I have read everything there is to read on lymphoma and on holistic treatment of lymphoma and other cancers in dogs. So I want to pass along this to you, and my story is not over yet because, I look at small victory. He lived past 2 weeks. Now I got to get him, to a month, to the 1 month mark, and that'll be a big victory. my goal, it is now August, I don't know, 6th, and my goal is to get him to see the snow again, because he's like me. He loves the snow, and if I could get him to play in the snow again, man, I'd be happy. Now, if you look at him, you know, he's out of breath because we just got done walking through the woods, but he is asymptomatic. The only thing the way you could tell he has any issue at all is his lymph nodes are a little bit swollen, and I want to get into that more. Sorry, I just got bit by a mosquito. I probably got Zika virus now. But I'm going to show you, when I get home, I'm going to turn the camera back on. I'm going to show you exactly what I've done and what I'm doing with him, and maybe you'll decide to give it a shot, and it may work, it may not. I can tell you that there is a holistic option, and when I say holistic, I'm talking about herbs and things that are known to fight against cancer and to build up the immune system. You know, Western medicine, and this is all, like I said, I'm not an expert, I'm just a guy talking on YouTube, but Western medicine's approach to cancers and tumors and things is to attack the tumor itself. So, you know, like the prednisone, it brings it down, but then when it comes back up, it returns with a vengeance, and then there's no stopping it. So the holistic, the ancient Chinese type scenario, and their theory behind fighting disease is to build up the body's immune system to such a point that it can handle its own battle. And, you know, there's a theory out there that we're all born with some kind of cancer. It's just that we never know about it because our body's constantly fighting it off until someday our defenses are down, or we're too old, or the stars are aligned right, and we end up getting cancer, and we end up dying after losing our hair through chemo and everything else. So that being said, I can tell you that on the 5th day into his 2-week death sentence, I went crazy with the holistic stuff. I learned as much as I could. I talked to as many people as I could, and now as a result, the basement of my house is like a hospital. You know, I mean, it's not easy. It's not 100% cheap, but you know, it's how much can you do and how bad do you want to do it. And I can tell you that his lymph nodes on his neck have shrunk down to, like, right now they're the size of quarters, maybe a little smaller. Sometimes I'll wake up, first thing I do is I check them, and they'll be bigger, and I'm like, oh God, and I increase the dose, because he's 100 pounds, and there doesn't seem to be any consistency in terms of the doses of this stuff. It's like a total shotgun approach. I find everything that I can that is known for fighting cancer and known for building the immune system, and I give it to him. And like the turmeric, you know, you probably know, or you should know, that turmeric is notorious for being an anti-cancer. I don't even know I think it's a spice or an herb, but I basically, you know, this morning I gave him 1,000 milligrams. I'll give him another 1,000 tonight, and it seems like whenever I give him that, his tumors or his lymph nodes shrink, you know, noticeably. But I'm including a bunch of other things that I'm going to show you when I get home. And my message to you is I don't want you to give up. There are other options. You don't have to just say goodbye. Look at him. He goes swimming in the river that's out through the woods here. Just about every day I take him swimming. I go on walks with him every night and in the morning. He's fine. He was running around. He's playing. He wrestled. He's 10 years old, by the way. And at home, he'll play with me and growl and be an attack dog. And he's lovey and compassionate. And he's just out of breath right now. But I'm telling you, this dog, people that know him, they are starting to think I made the whole story up just to get attention, because he doesn't look any different than he did, you know, a year ago in terms of his behavior and his energy level. It's unbelievable. So my only dilemma, the biggest dilemma I have right now with him is he's got, you know, if you know about mast cell tumors, you know, they're deadly too. Not as fast maybe as lymphoma, but his, you know, when you poke, he gets a lot of bumps. Golden retrievers get weird bumps, a lot of like lipomas, and they're benign fatty bumps. But you got to get them checked, because cancer kills golden retrievers a lot. So when they poke the hole to take the sample out, if it is a mast cell, now they've caused it to act up and spread, and that's my biggest fear, is that I had that checked on the same day, and then, oh, by the way, can you check his neck? So he's got a mast cell tumor growing, and I'm afraid that if I give him surgery to remove that'll weaken his immune system to the point that the lymphoma will be able to take over. And so I'm kind of just treating that with coconut oil and this other stuff that I'll tell you about. And I'm just hoping that, you know, that I'm able to stretch his life out. Now, my promise to Charlie is that I will take this as far as I can take it, as long as you're not in pain. And once he becomes in pain, I see symptoms that he's in agony, then I'm going to have the vet come to my house, and it's going to be the most depressing thing. You'll probably see it on the news, because I'll end up on some rooftop somewhere shouting out, how could God do this to me? But I'm going to have him put to sleep in my arms. I'll be holding his head and telling him how much I love him, and that's going to be a hell of a day. I can talk about it now without crying, because I'm so motivated by how good he's doing. I mean, it's unreal. Just look at him. He's a good boy. Look at that face. He's a good boy. Okay, so now let's go over the items that I've been giving Charlie. And just so you know, let me look at my calendar here real quick. Let's see, we got... Charlie was given 2 weeks to 1 month to live on July 21st. And it is now August 11th. So on the 21st of this month, that'll be the 1 month. That's the far end that he was given. So I can tell you that he is completely asymptomatic. He has no symptoms at all, other than his lymph nodes, which in his neck, which, you know, depending on what time of day it is, sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. Today's probably the smallest they've ever been since this whole thing started. You can barely feel them. So, is this stuff saving his life? I have to believe it is, because literally he swims in the river every day, he has fun, he's energetic, very energetic, playful. So, there's no particular order in what I'm getting ready to show you here. So let's start off with this. This is milk thistle. And if you've never heard of milk thistle, like I had never heard of it before this, well, I guess I'd heard of it, but I never knew what it did or didn't do. Milk thistle is basically a liver cleanser. And in the morning when I give him his breakfast, I give him one of these. And then I give him another one in his evening dinner. Because I'm a guy that believes if some is good, more is better, I also include with that liquid milk thistle. And what I do is I take one full dropper here, I suck it up and mix it into his dinner. He doesn't seem to mind the taste, and you can see the cost here on this one is $13.99. So let me put these things over here. Fish oil, omega-3. In the books that I've read, and in all the material that I've read about cancer in general and lymphoma specifically, cancer absolutely hates fish oil. Cancer hates fats. Cancer loves carbohydrates, so you want to stay away from the carbohydrates and sugars. But fish oil is good. It's good for you and I, and it's not expensive, and so it's definitely one that is easy to include. And what I do is I give him one of those pills in the morning, and I give him one in the afternoon and one at night. Now, this is arguably the most important ingredient here, and you know, I made a video a while ago about this, and I don't want to make this video too long, but I think it's pretty well known that turmeric is a very good cancer preventative. What is less known, and again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a vet, I'm not a doctor, but from my sources in the scientific community, of which I have one, turmeric has actually been known to reverse cancer in laboratory animals. Of course, the large pharma companies are not going to endorse something like this because you make a lot more money. Let's be honest, you make a lot more money treating cancer than you do curing it. So this is actually something that I take 1,000 milligrams a day. This is a 500 milligram capsule, and I have such faith in it. I give Charlie 4 of these every morning. That's 2,000 milligrams. You can't really overdo it, as far as I know, with turmeric. So I give him 2,000 milligrams in the morning, and I give him 2,000 milligrams at night. And sometimes in the midday snack, I'll throw in another one, because it seems like the more turmeric I give to him, the smaller his lymph nodes in his neck get. I can't say enough about this. This is good stuff for you too as well. This is a good cancer preventative. You should be taking at least 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams a day, in my humble, non-medical opinion. Probiotic. This is the one I use. Probably doesn't matter what kind you use. I keep this refrigerated because these are living cultures with, what is there? There's 20 billion live probiotic cultures in each one of these capsules. And I give him one of those each day. And I take one as well. What that does is it helps the and I'm using layman's terms here, I'm no doctor, but it helps the stomach be able to fight infection in the stomach, and there's another word for it, but I just woke up. It basically builds up the immune system in the digestive tract for the dog. And remember, the idea is to make the dog's body and natural defense systems as strong as possible so that they can fight off the lymphoma or the cancer that's trying to kill your dog. Before this all started, I didn't know there was such a thing as coconut oil, but now that I have read everything there is to read and talked to so many experts, I realize that coconut oil is sort of like the end-all, be-all of everything in terms of health. You can use it for butter, blah, blah, blah. You may remember that Charlie has he's got 2 types of cancer. He's got lymphoma, and he's got a mast cell tumor on his side. That's very visible. Coconut oil has been known to shrink tumors directly. So what I do is I apply this topically to his mast cell tumor on his side. I rub it on him, and that, of course, it leaves him all greasy, and I got to bathe him more often because he starts to stink. But he loves it. He licks it off my fingers, and then I give him a teaspoon of this a day, and you can see the consistency of it. It's almost gone here, but you can see it's very greasy. So when I first gave this to him, and I was warned ahead of time this would happen, Charlie ended up with 2 days of diarrhea, but his body quickly adjusted to it. He loves it now. So what I do is I rub it on him in his externally on his tumor, once in the morning, once in the midday, and once at night. I give him a full teaspoon of this once a day. I mix it in with his dog food, whether it's his breakfast or his dinner, it doesn't really matter. And that is a great cancer fighter from the inside out. Now, the most expensive item that I use, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Esiac. Now, you can look that up on the internet. That has just about every single thing known to fight cancer, and it's extremely effective if you read about the results from the experts. This bottle is $54.49, and I think it's got 60 capsules. So he has to take 3 of those in the morning, 3 in the evening. So you do the math. They don't last that long, but they're if you can afford it, this is a must. And if you have your own cancer issues, you should look into this as well. These are for humans. But this stuff has everything in it that you can imagine. I don't want to bore you, but a lot of it's a proprietary blend, but it's got sheep sorrel, slippery elm extract, Indian rhubarb extract, all kinds of things that the Native Americans and the Chinese have been using for years and years and years to fight different ailments. So basically, the other thing that's not included here is You may recall, if you've watched any of my other videos, that Charlie's initial vet visit was for the mast cell tumor that is on his side. Well, they had to stick a needle in there and draw some fluid out to verify that it was indeed a mast cell tumor, and the act of poking a hole in it can cause it to aggravate and inflame and spread the cancer itself. So in addition to the coconut oil I put on topically, I also give him 1 Benadryl every 8 hours, and that is to reduce the inflammation and slow the spread of that as I try to make my decision as to whether or not I want to put him through the surgery to remove that. I worry about that weakening his system and then allowing the lymphoma to take over. So I'm still fighting that fight in my head and talking to experts, and I got to make a decision here soon. But anyways, what you're looking at is this is what we deal with every day. It's not hard to do. You know, if your dog's like mine, you know, he'll spit anything out that even looks like a pill. So I got to be creative. I love to give Charlie turkey. I slice up turkey slices and I wrap these things. Each one in a hefty amount of turkey, you know, and I know that this is supposed to be on an empty stomach, but you know, what can you do? He's not going to take it. They also have this in a tea form too, so I mean, if you can, to me it seems more hassle to give him the liquid like that. I don't know how you would do it, maybe eyedropper or mix it in his food, but it probably disperses a lot better when it's in a liquid form. I opted for the capsules though. So that's it. I hope this made sense to you, and I really hope that, you know, if your dog I assume your dog is having issues, and that's why you're watching this video. I wish you all the luck in the world. Stay calm, stay cool, and remember, all you can do is just fight the good fight. And in the end, all of us are going to die. It's really a matter of quality of life, not quantity. So I want to give Charlie the best life possible. I'll take the phone out here and show you that we're in my basement here where my medical lab is, and Charlie's just laying there looking as fat and lazy and healthy as ever. So's his brother, Buddy. So we're just hanging out here, and pretty soon we'll take him swimming. So that's that, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Take care.
As I begin to tell you a story so important to me, she picks me up from my house as we head for our journey, and her name is with our chemistry, made traffic like an open highway, singing songs I normally wouldn't sing. So I started to think, could this really be happening? Could this be a possibility between a girl like her and a guy like me? I never thought that this could be alive. Kids without a care in a world full of obstacles. I've got that warm, chill feeling. I know this is right. As we progress into the night, it finally occurs to me, it's time to go for the kill. So grab your girl and make the move, and her name is intense sex in the air. My hand runs through her hair, making moves I never thought I could make. My mind spinning as our bodies move to the same rhythm. Could this be a possibility between a girl like her and a guy like me? I never thought that this could be alive. Kids without